Okay, well, the question is about the death penalty and church teaching. And this is kind of controversial, both because of the death penalty and because of a new formulation that was given to it recently by Pope Francis. And I'll just say that traditionally, Catholics technically have never actually they've never actually executed anyone, but of course, certain people have been tried and found guilty and of heresy and refused to recant, and those people the church has handed over to the civil authority, and the penalty for those crimes was the death penalty. So the church has obviously endorsed it over time, but the basic idea is that for the sake of the political community, it's sometimes necessary to remove a dangerous, as it were, sort of cancerous member. And so, just as you would remove a part of a living body in order to maintain the health of the whole body that remains, so it's sometimes necessary in the body politic to remove a dangerous member. Recently, like in the Catechism, paragraph 2267, as it was originally published in the 90s, the idea was that capital punishment may be necessary sometimes. So it recognizes the necessity. Death penalty is never a good thing, but it can be a necessary evil. As it was put in the original Catechism, St. Pope John Paul II said, "The cases in which the execution of a criminal is absolutely necessary are very rare, if not practically non-existent." So, yes, it might be necessary, but practically speaking, we should be able to avoid it. And the context also says, it's often the case that somebody wrongly convicted, in which case there's no fixing that if you've executed them. And by further incarceration, there's always a chance for their repentance and reform, even if they're not going to be released. And modern society, at least, can afford to keep really dangerous criminals incarcerated indefinitely, if necessary, so that it's never required to execute somebody. The problem comes with a latest revision to the Catechism from 2018, in which the words of Pope Francis were included, which says that the death penalty is inadmissible because it is an attack on the inviolability and dignity of the person. Well, this is kind of problematic for a couple reasons, or questionable. One is it's not clear what he means by inadmissible. That's not normally a term used in moral theology. So if he is saying that it's intrinsically evil and an act that may never be committed, well, that would be a change of church teaching for reasons I said at the beginning. And so secondly, it would mean that a definitive or magisterial teaching of the church has changed, and Catholics believe that no, we have the same faith that goes back to the apostles. Its expression has changed over the centuries, but it's the same faith. So since this is the only expression of it, I think the charitable way to interpret the words of Pope Francis is that it's in continuity with the constant teaching of the church, and that he's putting into different words what Pope St. John Paul II had said, is that only when it's necessary should you ever execute somebody, but it's practically speaking, it's never required that we do that. So I think that's the resolution. Hopefully there will be some more clarity given from the Holy See about this. But it's a good question. It's a little bit of hair splitting, and like I say, it's pretty controversial. But it's good to ask these questions.